Good day, guys. Today we're going to discuss the price elasticity of demand. The definition, make sure you know that, especially for essay purposes, you can use it as your introduction. It refers to the responsiveness or sensitivity of quantity demanded to a change in the price. For example, here we basically look at if there's a change in the price. Let's say there's a lot of things I actually noticed that's very expensive now, but let's say, for example, you always used to buy Fruit Loops as your breakfast porridge, and now you saw, because obviously of the coronavirus, and there's a lot of things we can't import and export, etc. The last time they imported a batch, the prices of the Fruit Loops in total increased, so they had to now increase the price. And now the Fruit Loops does not cost 40 Rand anymore, it costs you 70 Rand. Now you're gonna have to make a decision. Am I going to buy this Fruit Loops because I like Fruit Loops, but am I going to be willing to pay 70 Rand for it instead of only 40 Rand? Okay. In this case, a lot of people don't get an income even. So I personally have a lot of other expenses because I have the 2 kids now with me at home. So I will not buy it. I will buy a different brand of porridge then for time being, or time coming as well, when we know the economy is going through a recession at this stage. It's heading for a depression as well for the first time in like 10 years, which means inflation is going to take place again pretty soon. So you'll see that prices on basic items are going to even start rising. But so here we look at whatever is happening to the demand if there's a change in the price of a product. So if the price of a product that you used to like is very expensive, you must decide, are you willing to pay for it, yes or no? Okay. For example, alcohol. We're not allowed to buy alcohol now. We're not allowed to buy cigarettes. But some people might still get it somewhere on the black market, illegal markets. So we normally pay like 200 or 400 Rand for a carton of cigarettes. Somebody might sell it to you, like at 1,000 Rand. And because you're a smoker, you will be willing to pay that 1,000 Rand just to get your smokes, your cigarettes. Alright, yeah, because let's face it, people in this time, and yeah, unfortunately, we don't want to say it, but we do live in South Africa where people try to sometimes, get around the system. Yeah, but then people like that walks their dogs 9:05 in the morning, they get fined or even taken to jail because you're only supposed to do it between the hours of 6 and 9. So yes, yeah, there are some controversy about that, where people, why don't they catch all the bad guys actually doing in this time, selling stuff illegally, for example. But anyways, guys, so that's just showing you, what are you willing to do to get your stuff? Alright, will you pay the price for it? Will there be a demand? Yes or no? And that's basically what this topic is about. Okay, the most common elasticity measurement is that of price elasticity of demand. It measures how much consumers respond in their buying decisions to a change in the price of a product. When quantity demanded is very responsive to price changes, a small change in price leads to a relatively large change in the quantity demanded. So then we can say demand is said to be elastic. Okay, so if this is a small change in price level, for example, bread used to be 10 Rand and now it's 11 Rand. Okay, people will still demand bread, still buy bread, especially because a lot of other products is now so expensive. Most people just buy pap or bread and milk. and that's your basic items you have in the house. Except for some of you guys that maybe binge watch Netflix during this time, not working every day. And yeah, you maybe bought your snacks, your favorite snacks, but you would have realized that prices of those goods increased. When quantity demanded is relatively unresponsive to price changes, demand is said to be inelastic. Inelastic means it does not change. Remember, if you think of elasticity, think of an elastic band that you put in your hair, or those school elastic bands that you normally use to make sure that your long socks are staying up. If you pull it further away from each other, remember it's elastic, it changes. Alright, inelasticity means there's no change. Alright, okay, so for example, when the quantity demanded is relatively unresponsive to price changes, for example, matches. A lot of South Africans uses matches. So if the price changes of matches increase to 50 cents, people is not going to like stop buying matches. So they will still continue buying matches. So that's an example of inelastic demand. Elastic demand, think again of my example of Fruit Loops, for example. Now too expensive, from 40 Rand to 70 Rand. So yeah, people are going to demand less of that product. Okay. Measuring price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand, the percentage change in the quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the price. So just to break it down again, our calculation, our formula here, PED, is price elasticity of demand equals percentage change in the quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in the price. Make sure you know the formula, write it down in your red book. For example, if the price P of a good changes from 200 to 240 Rand and demand falls from 400 to 300 units Q, we can calculate that the price has increased by 20% by saying 240, that was my original price, minus 200, that's my new price, divided by 200, okay, my new price, times it by 100. Okay, where do we get the 100 from? We want to get it as a percentage, so that's going to give me 20%. So I can now say my new price is 240 Rand, so my price increased with 20%. The quantity demanded has fallen by 25%. 400 minus 300, that's the units. Okay, it was 400, now it's 300. Okay, divided again by 400. 400 was my original amount of units, times again by 100, 25%. So we can say as the quantity demanded has decreased by 25%, we indicate this with a minus sign, negative. Using these percentages, we can calculate the price elasticity of demand. So using my formula on the previous page, I can then say equals minus 25% divided by 20%, and my price elasticity of demand will be minus 1,25. Forms of price elasticity of demand, there are 5 forms, and this is asked a lot as a possible essay question. First of all, perfectly inelastic demand. Then inelastic demand, it means doesn't change. Unitary elasticity, unitary is equal. Elastic demand and perfectly elastic demand means that there's a change in demand when there's a change in the price. Perfectly inelastic demand, this refers to a situation where the price elasticity of demand is 0. Now normally when you have to study this as an essay question, I always ask that you know at least 2 points from here and you know the graph that goes with this, because then it will give you enough marks for your essay, for the main part of the essay. Right, so you can say, for example, it refers to a situation where price elasticity of demand is 0 And then you can use as another fact EP, the price elasticity, equals to 0. A change in the price causes no change in the quantity demanded. Inelastic, no change. Okay, remember my elastic band does not change if it's inelastic. The consumer will simply go on buying the same amount of the product at the new price. For example, we could have said cigarettes before the lockdown now, not the new prices. And we can look at matches, for example, or bread, or maize meal, something that all South Africans use. The demand curve is represented by a vertical line. Okay, so vertical line there, you'll see it's a solid vertical line, meaning that there is no change. It's fixed. Alright. For example, brown bread, which is a necessity, can even be a white bread. People will still continue buying it even if there's a change in the price. Alright. So perfectly inelastic demand means absolutely no change in the demand. Inelastic demand, the percentage change in the quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in the price of the product. For example, if the price increases by 40% and the quantity demanded only decreases by 20%, it means that the price elasticity is greater than 0 but smaller than 1. So again, we can use that as a fact, and we can also use the equation, which means price elasticity is smaller than 1, but it is greater, it is bigger than 0. Right, that will be our graph there. Remember, whenever you draw this graph, it's just a basic graph there. So all you have to indicate is your price and your quantity, and obviously your demand curve. For example, here, necessity like fuel. Okay, necessity like fuel means if there's an increase in the price of fuel, the demand is not going to decrease that much. Some people might say, okay, I'm rather going to use my bicycle, or I'm just not going to drive that much, or I will get a lift from somebody, but the rest is still going to put fuel in their car because it's basically also a necessity. Unitary elasticity, remember I said unitary refers there to equal. The percentage change in the quantity demanded is exactly equal to the percentage change in the price. For example, if the price increased by 25%, the quantity demanded will decrease by 25%. It means that the price elasticity is equal to 1. How do you represent it? In your equation, EP, price elasticity, equals to 1. Okay, there's your graph, indicating basically that it's equal. No example, as it is physically impossible. It's only a theoretical it's a theoretical idea basically. Okay, because it's impossible that my demand and my price, let's say my price increased with 15%, that my demand will also exactly on the dot increase with 15%. All right, that's why they say it's only a theoretical concept. It's not in practical, practically it's not possible to do that. Elastic demand, the percentage change in the quantity demanded is greater than the percentage change in the price of the product. For example, the price increased by 10%, for example perfume, and the quantity demanded decreased by 40%. That means if the price only increases by 10%, less people, it's like 40% less people are actually going to demand then perfume, because it's not a necessity. You can live without it, alright, but just then use some sort of spray at least, okay, if you can't afford the perfume, alright, because it's still a necessity to, smell good, alright. It means the price elasticity is then greater than 1, meaning EP, price elasticity, is greater than 1. Okay, this is what it will look like, my graph. Remember, price on the side, quantity over here. and you will see that your demand curve is lying very, I can say almost straight. Okay, because it means if there's a change in the price, even a small percentage change in the price, 10%. So my perfume increased with 10% from P to P, that should actually be P1. Then there will be a big change in the quantity demanded from Q to Q1, and that's why my curve is almost flattened. All right, so these are things like acorns, things that we can actually live without. All right, a Louis Vuitton bag, you don't, let's say I need a handbag, but I don't need to buy a branded one. Okay, and if the price of the branded one, for example a Guess one, is going to increase by a small percent, there's going to be a big decrease in the demand from Q to Q1. Then the last one, perfectly elastic demand. The quantities of a product demanded change by an infinite quantity as a result of any change in the price. The demand curve is a straight horizontal line. A perfectly elastic demand is mostly theoretical concept. This curve shows that consumers are willing to purchase any quantity of a product at a certain price, but if the price is raised, cause the demand to fall to zero. Again, theoretical, because in practicality, in the real world, we don't really use it. Right, for example, a vacation house. You will see there again, if you look at your demand, it is a fixed horizontal line. All right, and you will see that your price elasticity is equals to infinity. How can I remember it easy? If I take an elastic band and I just twist the elastic band, it looks like my infinity sign, or it looks like an 8 that fell over. All right, so perfectly elastic demand looks like an infinity sign. All right, okay, yeah, we made a nice summary for you. So all that I want you to do for today is look at this summary and copy this summary for me in your textbook. It does not include all the graphs. I want you to add the graphs to each. So you're going to have the heading perfectly inelastic demand and give me 2 facts under each with the graph. And remember, it's just the quantity and the price that you have to indicate. Quantity is on my horizontal axis, price is on my vertical axis. All right, and then any 2 facts from each of these you're going to list under the heading, and then you're going to draw the graphs for me. All right, tomorrow we're going to look at how it will be asked if it is a possible essay question. Okay, enjoy your day.